Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to week 6, another episode of Fantasy Football by Committee. This night, tonight, Thursday night football going on, Chiefs and Broncos. So we got to start sit show for you tonight. Who you should start, who you should sit for this week. Pretty straightforward. Housekeeping stuff. If you have any questions when we're not streaming, feel free to join Fantasy Football by Committee on Facebook. Give us a follow, subscribe, and drop your questions in the chat. That's what we're here for tonight. But without further ado, let's just jump into the start sit here. We'll be going off the articles that you can see on flurrysports.org if you'd like. And right off the bat, there we go. First question, I'll raise it to you guys before we jump into quarterbacks. Right here, KJ Osborne or Jerry Jeudy. I need to make the decision soon, obviously. What are your guys' thoughts on Osborne or Jeudy?
Are we talking about starting?
Yep. Probably a position or a wide receiver 3, I'd assume.
McAdoo, what are your thoughts?
I gotta see who the Vikings are playing this week first.
I think I go Osborne either way. Jerry Jeudy is out.
Oh,
TJ.
they're playing
TJ
Chicago, so I'd absolutely take Osborne.
Yeah, I mean Hawkinson is clearly going to be the who they would want to force feed the ball to. So I think Osborne gets some looks.
Yeah, and just looking here, if you look at Zach's fantasy football rankings, they can be found on Fantasy Pros and obviously on flurrysports.org. He's got KJ Osborne at 37, Jerry Jeudy at 38. So even if Jerry Jeudy was playing and that whole situation wasn't going on, he's got KJ Osborne. And I got Osborne too. I don't trust in the Chicago defense. So, and when you have Javonte Smith and Thielen, you should probably be pretty good. But we will jump straight into just some housekeeping over some quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson still not playing. Obviously, last week is a bye week. He was medically cleared to play the week before. Just didn't want to go out there. Burrow is looking pretty good in practice, starting to heal, obviously. Minshew has a revenge game coming up. Goff and the Lions, passing not great on the road. So in terms of your quarterback position, keep that stuff in mind. Got another question in here from Dummy Man Pluto. All right, interesting name. Drop Hunter Henry for Rashee Rice. I got little 12-man PPR. Wide receivers are Keenan Allen, Amon-Ra, Thielen, Mike Thomas, Tank Dell. What are your guys' thoughts on dropping Henry for Rashee Rice?
Hunter Henry?
Yep.
Derrick Henry?
Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I don't see why not, right? The New England offense is pretty atrocious. The only thing is that he was kind of the main receiving threat in New England. Take that as you will. Kansas City is clearly a committee at everything. Pass catchers as well as the running back room. Rashee has a higher ceiling, and I think Henry has a higher floor, if that makes sense. So it depends on which one you're trying to go for.
It depends on who else you have at tight end. Because I mean, if Hunter Henry's your only tight end, you might want to keep him. But I mean, I would still keep Hunter Henry though, depending on what your tight end situation is. Oh, Kittle, go ahead and drop him.
Is Logan Thomas available in streamers? I mean, to pick up and just stream him for the week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he probably is. And if you have Kittle, I don't think you need 2 tight ends. If Kittle gets hurt, you can pick somebody else up. Obviously, Hunter Henry had 2 great starts to the 2 great first 2 weeks with touchdown each game, but since then, 12 total targets and 6 receptions, including nothing last week. And obviously, he's tight end 8, but you're probably never going to start Hunter Henry over Kittle. So I don't really think he's worth rostering there. And how's it going, Millie Mills? Welcome back again. Real quick, jumping over to the running back side of things. Eckler is back without limitation. He is playing Dallas. If you listened to us last night, we talked about how important it is for him to be part of the game plan if they're going to beat Dallas, because they're going to be coming with heat all game. A-Chain is out, obviously, for a couple weeks, so keep that in mind when you're looking at the Miami backfield. On top of that, Javonte Williams is back tonight, so if you have him, probably start him if we're being real. If he's ready for Thursday and they're fine putting him out there, he's probably going to get a decent workload. And Dermercado listed behind Ingram on the depth chart at running back in Arizona. Do you guys think that is just something that, will sort itself out? Do you think Ingram is the running back one there? How do you guys look at this Demercado Ingram situation?
Maggie, do you want to go first or shall I?
I'll let you go first because I still need to think about this one.
Yeah, I think they go with the hot hand. And this is something, let me just before I even get to this, I know we get a lot of comments about how we're telling people to trade now. This is the selling point, and we say that for a lot of names like James Conner, Devon A-Chain. We were really hot on trying to sell him, and then he went out and he had another 2 weeks, good weeks. But the reason that we say this is because we know the injury history of James Conner. I don't think James Conner is ever going to come back to that point with his injury history, as well as the Cardinals organization as a whole. I don't see why they don't try going with the hot hand. I don't see why they try to go cheaper at the running back position, that they got these 2 guys on a much lower contract. How do you pronounce his last name?
Demercado, I would assume.
Demercado. Yeah. I think they roll with Demercado. I don't think you can go wrong. Even if they decide to split the carries, I still think you're going to get a nice, decent floor with Demercado.
He made a lot of excellent points there. I'm going to have to agree with him. I was going to roll with Demercado anyways this week. I got him starting in my league because I had both James Conner and Devon A-Chain go down. So fun week for me with all the IR stuff that happened. But I'm rolling with Demercado. Go Frogs.
There you go.
Go Frogs. And while we got running backs on the mind, Brian Robinson Jr., D-Hop or McLaurin for flex. Interesting 2 position group look, but you guys have any initial thoughts on those?
Yeah, McAdoo, you wanna take this one or shall I?
I want to say D-Hop, and I don't know why. Besides the name, that's like, I don't trust Brian Robinson going to get more than 10 points. D-Hop has a high floor despite him playing in Baltimore this week. Yes. Actually, wait a minute. When are the Titans flying out? That's what you should pay attention to, because they're going to London. We didn't know when they're flying out, so they aren't jet lagged. So, but if not, go McLaurin though. If they haven't flown to London yet.
Damn, I actually got to go with Robinson. He's clearly the alpha in that Washington backfield.
Yeah, for me, it's tough. I don't think McLaurin is the option. I think it's D-Hop or Robinson. The only question I have for Robinson is, how is this game going to shake out? Obviously, Washington was playing from behind against the Bears. He only had 6 carries. He had some receptions that kind of salvaged his game. But, if they fall again behind to Atlanta, that could be tough, but I don't see that happening. I would go Robinson with Hopkins right behind him. I think they're very interchangeable, and I would go McLaurin third. But to your point, Zach, it's very important on when Tennessee flew out to England, because if D-Hop is playing on like 3 hours of rest, I'm not trusting him against Baltimore at all.
I mean, I had to say that for a reason. I mean, if you look up there, I was disappointed with their output last week. So,
yeah, for Fair point. Fair point. And we'll keep it rolling with running backs here. Kind of running backs. Would you trade Nico Collins and DeMarcado for Dobbs and Jerome Ford? Zach, you're shaking your head. Why?
I don't know if Ventro is looking at the screen, but my head is moving side to side because this is a hell to the no. Also, I just spoke highly of Amari DeMarcado. Don't know when you jumped on Ventro, but I do think he has the hot hand, and I don't know why Arizona is not going to keep rolling with the hottest hand at the moment. Nico Collins is playing for the best rookie quarterback so far from the draft, and CJ Stroud in Houston. He's had a couple of games to go off. Romeo Dobbs plays in an atrocious Green Bay Packers offense, and Jerome Ford still has to battle with not only Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski, as well as Kareem Hunt. And they don't have they're going with PJ Walker at quarterback. I imagine that offense is going to get well behind from the start.
So I'm looking at Jerome Ford's snap count right now. He's gone up, obviously, since the Chubb injury, but he had 56% of the snaps in week 3. Week 4, he had 62. I mean, combining him with Romeo Dobbs, that's not something I want to do. I think I'd keep Nico Collins and roll with the hot hand in DeMarcado until Connor comes back.
Also, for your immediate return on your investment with Jerome Ford, they're playing the San Francisco 49ers. So, yeah, I don't expect Cleveland to win that game. I think they're going to get behind real quick, real fast. That offense is going to look real bad.
Yeah, to your point, I don't know what Dobbs gets you. He's obviously the red zone threat, I think, for the Packers outside of Aaron Jones. But what does that get you with Jordan Love at quarterback and this offense? Jerome Ford is a solid player, but I don't know if Dobbs and Ford together is a good enough return for Collins and DeMarcado. He could probably sell high on both of them. Pretty straightforward there. All 3 for 3 on nose. Going to Ventro. Should I start Javonte this week? Do you guys have any holdups about starting Javonte Williams against the Chiefs tonight?
Yeah, McLaughlin, we still don't know. It just depends on what your team looks like. If you can afford to not start him, I think you can hold off on that. But if you do, I'm not against it.
So
I still think he is going to get some touches.
Reading what the NFL.com had to say today with under McLaughlin, it sounds like Denver is going to go with a 3-headed monster tonight. And I don't like that to begin with for Javonte, especially considering he's coming off an injury. You don't know what his usage is going to be. I would sit him if you have a better option.
I think you make a great point. I guess where I'm coming from is that I still think he's going to get more carries than Sahaj Perine.
Yeah, I think it all depends what his role is in your team. If you're going to be starting this guy as a running back 2, I think you got a pretty big problem tonight. However, if he's filling in a flex running back 3, I think he could do worse. I think he has a decent floor. I just don't know how high his ceiling is going to be. To your point with the 3-headed monster, I mean, he kind of has to get a touchdown for that to work, or a lot of passing work, which we just don't know if that's going to happen.
And the other point to this, too, is that they're playing the Chiefs. I don't think this Denver defense is going to stop them well enough to get them carries that they need to get points for Javonte, McLaughlin, or whoever the last one is. I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
P.P. Ryan, that's right. P.P. Ryan.
And we will go back to Alex and Millie Mills after I just answer this real quick. Osborne or Jerry Jeudy? We all said Osborne 3 for 3, if I'm not mistaken, at the start of this. We will bounce over to Alex Payne. Russell Wilson or CJ Stroud, guys?
CJ Stroud.
Stroud.
I know Russell Wilson has been playing. Everyone wants to come and defend him, saying he's not the problem in Denver. And sure, those are valid points, but he definitely isn't helping them by, any large margin. He's everybody's seen those memes of him cooking and the kitchen is on fire. I think Denver is just on fire as a whole. It's only a matter of time to me until those wheels completely come off of the tracks. So I think you roll with CJ Stroud until proven otherwise.
I would agree. 3 for 3. He's been a good quarterback now. I don't know why you sit him. Why you sit him at this point? I say roll with him. We will do one last question before we run through wide receivers quick. T. Higgins or Godwin? I'll go first. I think it's Godwin. I don't think it's close. Lions defense, I think, is decent, but they're losing a lot of bodies, and it's on the road, so Jared Goff is not going to be good statistically.
What is this in question to?
T. Higgins or Godwin? Probably. Which one do you want to start?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the comments. Chris Godwin. Oh, Chris Godwin, man. Baker Mayfield has been playing lights out in Tampa Bay.
I got to go Godwin, too. I think Sunday's going to be a shootout between the Lions and the Bucs, so it should be a fun one.
And we will go straight in with that. We will get to the rest of the questions right after this. We'll run through wide receivers here. Start, sit again. Start, sit them. Look at these articles, flurrysports.org. They're up every Thursday before the games. Give them a quick read. But Zach wrote, the third Zach, the Zach that's not here, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Starts, he has Jordan Addison against the Bears and Michael Pittman against the Jaguars. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on either of the two or nothing special?
Yeah, I really question, it might be the sleeper pick. Maybe Bruner is cooking something up. For any audience members that don't know, I see that we got a sub here. We are unofficial NFL script writers. Maybe Bruner has something cooking in this week's script that Michael Pittman is going to go off that I didn't know about. I don't know if we've seen enough of Gardner Minshew running the Colts offense start to finish to say that Michael Pittman's a definitive start. I think that's a really interesting pick. And if you have the opportunity, you have the fortune to experiment, go for it.
I mean, I like Pittman. I think he's, especially that Jags defense, who's going to come back from London, probably the same as what they usually do. I mean, they don't have the bye this year like they did in years past, so we don't know what is going to happen with them as pertains to other years. But I do like Pittman this week.
I think he's just fine too, only because of Minshew and, like you said, Jaguars coming back from England. Keep your hopes in check. Don't expect a wide receiver one performance, but he'll do well for you. And then for the sit, he has Terry McLaurin against the Falcons on the road and Chris Olave at Houston. What are your thoughts on those two?
God, yes. I said it last week. I don't know if Bruner is watching this, but if we can roll the tape. Near the end of the show last week, I said Curtis Samuel was the guy to pick up. I'd been saying it for 2 weeks in a row. And sure enough, just because he did it on prime time, everybody started losing their minds about Curtis Samuel. I do think that he is starting to get touches. They're starting to get him rushes because they're trying to find a way to get him the ball because everybody wants to load up on freaky deaky, scary, because he's not so scary, Terry McLaurin. I think Curtis Samuel is the guy to get the ball in Washington, especially if they load up on Logan Thomas.
So I'll take Olave in this one. I don't like him starting this week. Something about Carr. I thought he'd be doing better than what he has done in New Orleans so far. And he, as someone who has him in the dynasty league, all three of us are, and he's been abysmal or mediocre, not even mediocre for that New Orleans offense. So I think you need to sit any Saints offensive guy that isn't named Alvin Kamara for the time being.
Yeah, I think they're both sits. I think Houston's defense, we knew they wouldn't be a joke, but points given up the last 3 weeks, 17, 6, 21. Yes, the last two are Pittsburgh and Atlanta, but got Jacksonville thrown in there too. So they are clearly better than last year. Their offense can help them out a little bit, so I think they get a shot. We will go straight into some more questions because they are starting to build up. I will ask you guys, Downs or Christian Kirk higher the rest of the season?
Kirk.
Pretty easy. Pretty quick. Another one, loving the stream, already a sub. Thank you very much. I have the chance to trade DJ Moore for Davante Adams. I'm a little scared to do it because of Jimmy. Does Jimmy put you guys off of doing this trade, or are you pulling the trigger?
Pulling the trigger. I got a bunch of flack bunch of flack for saying that I would sit Javonte Adams. I do think it's just going to be a matter of time before he finds himself out of Las Vegas, and I do think that means he ends up sitting, whether that's because he's sitting in Vegas or sitting as he adjusts to a new team.
I'm not high on the DJ Moore train yet. So if you're giving up Davante Adams for DJ Moore, I wouldn't pull that trigger. If it's the other way around, go for it, because I think, yes, it's still Davante Adams. No matter where he goes, he's going to put up numbers.
Yeah, I'm doing the trade. I'm taking Davante Adams as the better side, just because I can't trust the Bears to pass the ball. They did it once against Washington. Show me you can do it again. I feel like Justin Fields is going to be using his legs more, but we will see. Obviously, Davante Adams playing New England Week 6. New England likes to shut down the number one option for opposing teams. You would think that's Davante Adams, how much Josh Jacobs has struggled this year, but Belichick has, and that defense has struggled a little bit. So with that being said, Zach?
Before we move on, I do think I like your logic. You're selling DJ Moore high. What else can you get? Who else can you get?
That's fair. I mean, I think it depends on the league mate, obviously, their thoughts, their feelings, who they're a fan of. But that's a fair question. I mean, we talk about selling high, buying low. Now's the time to sell DJ Moore. If you don't like Davante, that's fine, but get somebody for DJ Moore. We got a trade question here from Menace 2012. Would you accept this trade? He gives away Justin Fields, Kenneth Walker, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and in return, he gets Patty Mahomes, Jamar Chase, and James Cook.
Yeah, I think Patrick Justin Fields was really questionable for a good chunk of the season so far. Sure, he popped off last week. But Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. Cincinnati offense is getting back right on track. Amon-Ra St. Brown just got injured, and he's out for how long? Just 1 week?
Should be probably about 1 week. I haven't seen any reports saying it's going to be extended, but we'll see.
I still think you go with James Cook. He's clearly the number one in Buffalo. I think you do, lose a little bit with Kenneth Walker, and especially with the RB emergency in the fantasy football ecosystem this year. But you upgrade Justin Fields to Patrick Mahomes, I think it's a win.
Yeah, you're not only upgrading Fields to Mahomes, you're upgrading Amon-Ra to Jamar Chase. So, I mean, that's doubly right there. If you look at it, Mahomes is what a top 2 quarterback in the league, and he's not 2. And
yeah,
Jamar Chase is probably number 2 behind Justin Jefferson in this league. So, I mean, that's tough to give up. So you have to take that trade if you're in that situation.
Yeah, in full transparency, St. Brown practiced in full today, so it looks like it's more of a strain than a hernia, which is good for him. I'm still doing this trade also mostly because Justin Fields' body, we saw last year when they ran the ball with them a lot, it started breaking down by the Atlanta game, I think in like week 13 or 14. They're going to do the same thing. I don't see his body able to take the hits again. And so I don't think he even plays a full season healthy. So even if it was close, I'm taking Patty Mahomes. In regards to Michael Pittman, Zach said he had 97 yards and a touchdown against the Jags in week one, which is fair. And obviously Anthony Richardson is not the quarterback anymore, so you got to figure Gardner Minshew is going to pass the ball more. We are Eagle defensive question. Chiefs or Raiders defense this week? Obviously, Chiefs play tonight against the Broncos. Raiders play against New England. What say you?
Chiefs.
I'm going to go Raiders. Honestly, the fact that New Orleans shut out the Pats, that tells you all you need to know right there. I think the Raiders don't have as good a defense, but I still think like they're going to be able to stop New England. What has New England done to prove that they can actually score? They've scored 3 points in the last 2 weeks. That's it.
The only thing that I hesitate with that is just the Josh McDaniels effect in Vegas. And I think Bill Belichick is still the master versus the student. And with the Raiders just looking the way that they are, I think Bill Belichick pulls a miracle out of his ass this week.
Yeah, this is tough. I'd usually say the Chiefs by a billion, but I mean, New England's look bad. I mean, they look like the worst team in the NFL. Obviously, the Raiders' defense didn't have a very good start at all, but say what you will, they somewhat limited the Chargers. Granted, that was due to coaching, and they somewhat limited the Packers, again, due to coaching. I don't think New England will be as bad due to coaching, but their offense is still not great. But I don't know. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I don't trust Russell Wilson. But I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people say. So I think that's a fair question. And then we will now... Zach said Bill Belichick has really struggled against former coaches not named Bill O'Brien. So
has he? Like, is that an actual stat?
Hey, if it is, I'm taking the Raiders then. I'm taking the Raiders. We will fly through tight ends real quickly so we can get to questions to end this. Stardom Situm, again, flurrysports.org every Thursday. Start, Logan Thomas at the Falcons, Zach Ertz at the Rams. What do you guys think about those two start decisions?
Ooh, I love the Logan Thomas pickup. I love that he's been playing pretty well, especially for the tight end position. All things considered, they can make or break your team. Everybody is usually going out for the pass catchers at the wide receiver, but man, having a bad tight end can really bite you in the ass. And so, if Logan Thomas is playing lights out, you got to go with the hot hand. Go with Logan Thomas.
I'm sorry, I forgot what the question was.
Sure. Logan Thomas and Zach Ertz are both starts this week. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I'm big on Zach Ertz. I mean, he's been a good safety valve for the Cardinals, and especially considering Josh Dobbs is his first full year starting. So I mean, you got to roll with him, and he scored a touchdown this week. I think he could be number 2 in a row this week.
Yeah, and Zach writes in the article, Ertz has been top 12 3 of 5 weeks this year. And the Rams give up the second most points to tight ends. I think that's pretty self-explanatory there in terms of why he's a start. Then for sit, we got Tyler Higbee against the Cardinals and Dalton Schultz against the Saints. Any big thoughts on either of those two?
No, I think just the tight end position as a whole is that if you're not playing exceedingly well to catch our eye, it should be an automatic sit. Unless you're starting somebody out of desperation.
I actually do like Dalton Schultz, despite him playing the Saints. I don't know what it is. It's like granted, I have my 3 tight ends in the one league we're in. It's Dalton Schultz, Knox, and Kyle Pitts. So I mean, it's a who's who. Who's gonna let you down this week? So.
Yeah, I mean, just I'll touch on Higbee. Cup's back, obviously. Puka is who he is. Kyron Williams gets targets out of the backfield. They're playing the Cardinals. James Conner is out. Like, I don't think the Rams are going to blow out the Cardinals by any means, but I think they can run the ball a lot if they want. And there are probably 3 pass catchers ahead of Tyler Higbee in the pecking order. So I don't know what you're really expecting from him floor-wise. He'd pretty much have to catch a touchdown for me. And then we will get back to questions. Menace again. Start sit question. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Thomas, guys.
Start Jonathan Taylor. No ifs, ands, or buts. I understand that Zach Moss has been popping off for 2 weeks in a row. It's something that I had said last week, too, that Jonathan Taylor is not going to be force-fed the ball. They're going to wean him into it. With this, though, it's Michael Thomas, Derek Carr, and the Saints. That's why I go with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, this is a lose-lose situation here, I think, because we talk about giving it to the hot hand, and guess what? Zach Moss is that hot hand in Indianapolis. I have to eat my words. I thought Jonathan Taylor would get would be the bell cow last week. He was not even close. So I think it's just a coin flip here, and I guess you gotta go Jonathan Taylor, despite him probably not getting the majority of the carries down there.
Yeah, I think he's guaranteed to get you about 5 to 10 carries, 15 max.
You guys zig, I'm going to zag. I like Jonathan Taylor, but to your point, hot hand, Zach Moss, I think they'd be stupid to go away from him. I'm going to go Michael Thomas just because I think New Orleans needs to pass the ball in this game. And it also depends, I think, on what your league format is. I think if this question is about a PPR league, I think my answer is a lot higher on Michael Thomas than if it's a half PPR league. I don't think Thomas gets you a ton of yardage, but I think he'll get you possibly the receptions. So either way, you shouldn't be too mad, though, because either way, you're kind of screwed, to put it nicely. So trade question from Josh. Would you guys trade Carr, Jonnu, and Downs for Amon-Ra St. Brown? Guy I'm trading with as a horrible tight end and no back quarterback. 20-man PPR. All start. I'm absolutely doing this trade every time. I think there are plenty tight ends out there. Josh Downs, you're never going to start. And Derek Carr, fantasy relevance, I don't think he has any.
Yeah, absolutely in a heartbeat. 20-man PPR. I don't know who you're tricking to get this trade, but it's an absolute win for you.
I hate 16-team leagues. What the hell are you doing in a 20-man league? But yes, I would take this in a heartbeat, man.
Trade question from Caden next on the block. How's it going? I've got a trade offer, Saquon, for me to receive Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs. Thoughts? I've got Rashad White, Zach Charbonnet, Jaleel McLaughlin. I know that's weak. I've got Christian Watson, Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, Gabe Davis. Which side of the trade do you guys like? The Saquon part of the trade or Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs?
I like the Gibbs. I like both of those. Jamar Gibbs, right?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Jameer, yeah.
Jameer. I think both of them. I think it's just a matter of time until Gibbs gets the ball, barring some David Montgomery injury. I think Saquon and the New York Giants offense as a whole is a clusterfuck until otherwise noted. So I think it's a win for the Amon-Ra and Gibbs.
Yeah, I would take this too if you're on the Gibbs Amon-Ra side. I just, like you said, that the Giants defense, offense is not where it was last year. It's been horrid. Whatever you just throw the adjective book for bad stuff out there, and that's pretty much what this Giants team has been on both sides of the ball, not just the offense. But the offense still hasn't scored a touchdown in the first quarter in any game, first half, in any game so far. So that's horrid. So yeah, I think you need to give up on any Giant that you have.
I would agree. Giants offense is horrible. Saquon's injury concerns are there, obviously, and Gibbs' stock can't get any lower. And he seems kind of like a throw-in on this trade, so I'm taking the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs side of this trade every day of the week. Another trade question we got it from Patty. Got a lot of trades today. Trade away A.J. Brown for Ayuk and Brees/Swift. Depends who I think I should choose. I want to hold on to A.J. because my running backs with Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor are fine. Would you guys hold on to A.J. Brown here or trade him for Ayuk and Brees or Swift?
Ooh. Damn, I see the logic either way. It's just going to be, it depends on how pressed for wins you are trying to make the playoffs. Aaron Jones is still coming back from an injury. It's a matter of time before he gets fully healthy. Jonathan Taylor, it's a matter of time before he gets fully integrated into that offense with the relevance of Zach Moss. I don't know how quickly that is, / if it's ever going to be the same. I think they might have a committee. So I think you do trade away A.J. Brown. I think you get DeAndre Swift is somebody that I like better, and Brandon Ayuk has been playing quite well in San Francisco.
Here's the thing with when you're going for Ayuk and Brees or Swift, you're hoping that they reach your ceilings because they're not going to be putting up the consistent points that A.J. Brown can hit. To that point, though, I still think you got to take that trade, and I'm going with the Brees Hall side of that because I'm big Brees Hall. I think he's a great back. that definitely is going to put up points once his knee fully heals. I don't know if they've officially said it's fully healed from the injury last year, but I definitely think you are taking Ayuk and Brees here.
I think the big part of this, I don't know if your running backs are fine with Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor. Zach Moss is hot. I don't think they have any reason to wean carries away from him, at least a lot. And Aaron Jones, in the 1 week he played a full game, yeah, he finished as running back 1, but he had 9 carries and 4 targets. Matt LaFleur doesn't like to use him historically. This offense is also bad. They're schemed bad. This offensive line is bad. So he's certainly a playmaker, big-time player. He's a fantastic talent, but man, I think you need to shore up your running backs a little more than you're giving yourself credit for. So I would go with Ayuk and also Brees. I'm not ever going to buy DeAndre Swift. Then we have Millie Mills back again. Thoughts on Deontay Johnson as a stash? Obviously, wide receiver for the Steelers. And Deontay should be back. What week is it? He says he'll return in week 7. Obviously, week 6 this week is their bye. Week 7 against the Rams on the road. Is he worth a stash on your teams?
Depends on who you have.
And if you have an IR slot.
Yeah, I mean, the Pittsburgh offense is the Pittsburgh offense. They're having the fire candidate chance for a reason. I don't know if Deontay Johnson, of all people, was going to be the one that just makes it click.
Yeah, for me, I'm going. I think you keep him. I think if you've kept him this long, you might as well keep him another week. I don't think that's a problem at all for me. We will go to Mac, DeMercado, or Foreman. In the sake of transparency, Zach has DeMercado at 29 among running backs, and Deontay Foreman has 25, which would tell us Foreman's the pick. But what would you guys go for with your running back 2 here?
Yeah, I think I'd go Foreman. There's all the injuries in the Chicago backfield. I think they have no other choice but to give it to Foreman.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Go Foreman.
And anybody who's watching, kickoff starts in 9 minutes. Get your last questions in. We'll knock out as many as we can here. Motion Man, question about rest of the season as well. Jacobs or Brees? Zach, I know you like Brees. Do you like him more than Jacobs too, or no?
It's who is Vegas? That's New England. Oh yeah, I'm going to take Josh Jacobs
For the rest of the season?
Oh, rest of the season. Oh God. I thought you were talking about this week. I probably would go Brees.
I think I'd go Josh Jacobs. Like I said, I've been really rooting for this Davante Adams trade. I do think it eventually happens, and when they do, I think it's inevitable that they just force feed the ball to Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brees only because this running game has looked horrible for the Raiders so far. And that's not really Jacobs' fault, in my opinion. But I think Brees has a lot more chance to find daylight in his offense. I'm going to get back to you, Aiden, just because this one's a Thursday night one. Jaleel McLaughlin or Dameon Pierce. Zach has Dameon Pierce at 22, McLaughlin at 28. I would tend to agree with Javonte Williams playing. Like you said earlier, Zach, 3-headed monster. I don't know if I trust McLaughlin over Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce is the hot hand. We had him as selling high based off of his performance the week prior to. I think this is an all-time high for Pierce. I mean, until proven otherwise. He was the dominant back last year. I think he's just finding his groove again this year.
3-headed monster versus the bell cow. You make that decision there.
Fair enough. Aiden, we did not forget about you. Back to you. Who won? I got Kelsey and Watson. I miss Christian Deshaun. I would assume Christian. And he traded away Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers, Rashad White, Ertz, and DeMercado. I don't have a lot of depth anymore, 10 PPR, but starters are Stroud, Puka, Chase, Etienne, Hall, JT, Kelsey. What do you guys think about this? Is the depth going to come back to hurt him, or do you make this trade?
Oh, man, you're telling me that you're going to start CJ Stroud, Travis Kelsey, Travis Etienne, Jamar Chase, Puka Nakua, and Brees Hall, and Jonathan Taylor? I think your only real loss in that is Jonathan Taylor. So, yeah, I think your starters are solid.
I think it's a good trade for him. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What do you mean, Deshaun Watson by chance?
I would assume Christian, if it's listed. I would assume wide receiver if he's listing the wide receivers he gave up, but I don't know for sure.
Either way, right? Fuck both of them.
Yeah.
I like the trade. Kelsey's a game changer. And in 10 PPR, you should probably be able to find some good depth pieces on the waiver wires.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We will go. He said Christian Watson. So I don't think Christian Watson's worth much, but it's a wide receiver, so that's nice. Millie Mills, we won't forget about you. We will just do this because Thursday night. Would you start Jerick McKinnon over Damian Pierce?
No.
Nope.
3 for 3. I wouldn't either. Back to Millie Mills. We will make this the last question, or if you get your questions, then we'll make you the last question. 10-team PPR, I need a wide receiver 1. Higgy, Olave, Godwin, Hop, McLaurin, Dobbs, Bijan, B. Robinson, Swift, Kyron. What can I trade to get a wide receiver 1? I think the best piece to probably trade if you want a wide receiver 1, if you want a easy buy hot, or not so you're giving up too many pieces. I think Godwin's the closest there, where you don't have to give up much extra to get wide receiver 1. But I think you could probably convince somebody, Higgins or McLaurin, add in maybe a Swift. I think you probably get a wide receiver 1 there. What are your guys' opinions on that?
Trevor, you took the words right out of my mouth. What about you, McAdoo?
I hate talking about trades because I'm always the one like, who the hell is going to take this trade? But I mean, I think you have it right. I think if you are going to trade, you got to go try to trade away Swift and try to get after Godwin. I mean, the fact that all the other thing, Dobbs is not a wide receiver 1. I don't know why.
I think he's saying this is his team. Who do I package to get a wide receiver 1?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you try to trade away Romeo Dobbs as well if you can.
If you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can. Get him off of your team.
So we will wait like an extra maybe 1-2 questions to get your final questions in. But while we're waiting, what do you guys got for score predictions tonight? Chiefs, Broncos.
I'm thinking 35-14 or 35-21. Late score touchdowns from Denver.
So you have the Chiefs winning, I'd assume.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Did I need to make that obvious?
KC 69, Denver 3.
One day you'll get close to that. I'll go 31-24 Kansas City. Something about the Broncos. They're not going to be able to tank correctly. They'll find a way to make this close.
No, but before we sign off, I know we've had a long saga with Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, and I figure why not continue it here with Nick Espinosa, because he loves talking about them both.
Oh my God. Why would they not let Baker Mayfield take 2 weeks off? Like I said, in his contract year, I think Baker wanted to put his blood, sweat, and tears out there because they hadn't given him his new contract. So he goes out there because he's trying to prove it to everybody that he is the guy. They then go behind his back to sign Deshaun Watson, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my God, Deshaun, do you need another massage? You need 2 weeks of massages, buddy." We got a whole host of folks here in Cleveland that'd be real happy to help you.
Wait, define happy to help you, because that's what got him in trouble.
Exactly. And you're letting him take 2 weeks of that?
3.
And you wouldn't even afford the same 3 weeks. That's right, because they had the bye.
And with that,
and they wouldn't do the same to Baker.
With that, I think that's a perfect place to sign it off. As always, if you have any questions, Go into the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook. We answer those 24/7. So we're not on stream. You can still ask us questions. You can answer questions. Hey, it's a good community over there. So with that being said, everybody go enjoy Thursday night, and we will see you guys later.
Go Bills.